Now, breaking news, Ananda Lewis has died at the age of 52. The former MTV VJ's sister, Lakshmi, announced news of her death in a Facebook post shared on Wednesday, June 11th. She's free and in his heavenly arms, she wrote, alongside a series of broken heart emojis and a black and white portrait of Lewis. Lord, rest her soul. Now, Lewis became well known in 1997 when she was hired to be one of MTV VJ's hosting shows like Total Request Live and Hot Zone. In 1999, the New York Times dubbed her the hip-hop generation's reigning it girl. She left MTV in 2001 to host her own talk show, The Ananda Lewis Show. MTV VJ Ananda Lewis has been diagnosed with cancer, and it has progressed to stage 4 after refusing a double mastectomy. This is a tragic life of Ananda Lewis and all of the peculiar things you didn't know about her. The 51-year-old African-American and Native American TV personality, activist, and carpenter was born on March 21st, 1973 to an account manager mother, and her dad was employed as a computer animator. Now, she was actually abandoned by her mother at just 2 years old. Her mom actually ran off to Europe to escape the pain of the divorce to her father, and Ananda took it really hard. They was together for a while, and she basically didn't want to deal with motherhood or any of that. She wanted to go find her peace. Now, from there, Ananda was raised by her grandmother, and the sad thing about it is that Ananda stated that she felt nurtured by her mother and then just completely broken when she left. It was very hard for her to kind of reconcile and kind of put those pieces back together. Now, Ananda was fiery, and she did frequently get into it with her mother and her grandmother quite often, and barely got a chance to see her father, who soon remarried. Now, y'all know how that goes. Sometimes if you're from a broken family, things may be good, but at some point when somebody starts another family, some people tend to be forgotten about, which is unfortunate. Now, many aren't aware of this, but Ananda actually had an awful stuttering speech impediment until she was about 8 years old. From then, she basically went on to be a really outspoken and confident individual, and she actually entered herself in a Little Miss Sandy L beauty pageant contest, and she actually won the entire thing. Now, Ananda seems like she was pretty much born to be a little young hustler. Now, me, myself, and I've never heard of an 8-year-old entering herself into something like that. Now, I guess she knew early on that she was a beautiful young lady, and she just had the type of drive, and she knew that she was meant to be somebody. Now, after she actually entered herself into the beauty pageant, she actually won the entire thing. She put together her own choreography, the Stevie Wonder and Paul McCartney's hit Ebony and Ivory. Now, once she did her performance and she won everything, she actually snagged the attention of a talent agent and started working in local theater production and a few small roles on TV. Now, at only 13 years old, Ananda started volunteering as a tutor and a counselor at a Head Start facility, and she gained inspiration to pursue a career in teaching or possibly psychology to help young people. Now, her family was actually completely unsupportive of her meager career decisions and wanted her to instead be a lawyer because they thought she would make a lot more money at that. Now, she did go on to graduate cum laude at Howard University in 1995. Now, she did think about going out for her master's degree in education, but instead she answered an ad looking to be a host for BET's Teen Summit. Now, the kids she was actually tutoring at the time encouraged her to go to the audition, stating to her that, yo, your job as a tutor is about to end and you definitely need the money because your ass is about to be out of work. So you need to go in and make those money moves. Now, some of you guys may remember Teen Summit, my older subscribers, but the younger subscribers, if you don't know about Teen Summit, it was basically a debate-driven show. It basically allowed Ananda to continue her passion for helping out teens and young people. Now, Ananda made a huge impact on the show, and MTV found interest in the young, beautiful, and vibrant young lady. Now, when her hosting at BET ended, she ended up taking the job, but allegedly cried for a few weeks while deciding if she should actually leave the show for more money or stay at BET and help out the kids on her show. Now, the cool thing about it was she did spawn over a decade as a VJ for MTV, which is pretty unprecedented for a woman of color. Even in those times at MTV, she hosted Total Request Live and The Hot Zone, most notable from her show The Hot Zone. She went in with Tribe Called Quest questions, founder Q-Tip about the number of women wearing bikinis, and one of the videos, she definitely wasn't happy about that at all. She let Q-Tip know that he was basically just sitting there looking kind of crazy, and I guess he really didn't expect that type of smoke from Ananda at the time. But as fate actually turns around, she later on flashed her boobs on MTV while hosting Spring Break in Panama City. And at this point, it seems like she began to sell her soul, and the tragedies just started falling. In 1998, she did shock the world when she indicated she wanted to remain abstinent for at least 6 months. She did go on record saying she knows the drama that being sexually active brings to your life, and that she actually started having sex really early on in life and made a lot of bad decisions. So she was basically swearing off men, and that was really her trying to stick to her guns and also inspire other people to do the same. Now, considered one of the 50 most beautiful people by People magazine in 2000, and rightfully so, she debuted the Ananda Lewis show on September the 10th, 2001, before the fateful day of 9/11 when the Twin Towers were struck. Now, she was quickly compared to Oprah because of her style and her maturity level, and also her compassion for people. Everybody was like, yo, this has got to be like the young Oprah. Now, that show actually ended about a year later, and she made another appearance in 2004, and she was on a reality show, Celebrity Mo, and she also served as a co-host on Annie's TV show, America's Top Dog, and she definitely has a love for dogs. She had 2 Chihuahuas at the time, and I'm not sure if she still has them. It's been close to about 15 years, but she's definitely into animals. She also was a spokesperson for the Humane Society as well. Now, as of late, Ananda Lewis is 51 years old. She looks the exact same for the most part and hasn't changed a bit. Now, Ananda became a carpenter, and she was also promoting her HGTV show that was in the works called Switch My Place. Now, in recent news, the 51-year-old former MTV VJ reportedly avoided mammograms for several years for fear of radiation poisoning. Then when the cancer was eventually caught at stage 3, she completely refused the double mastectomy. She said in an interview, "This is tough for me, but if just one woman decides to get her mammogram after watching this, what I'm going through will be worth it." But during a recent CNN roundtable discussion, Ananda said that she went against her doctor's recommendation to have a double mastectomy after she was diagnosed. She said, "My plan at first was to get out excessive toxins in my body. I felt like my body is intelligent. I know that to be true. Our bodies are brilliantly made," she said. "I decided to keep my tumor and try to work it out of my body a different way." So Ananda decided to use homeopathic remedies in addition to medication and radiation. She also focused on her sleep and diet. But last year, she learned that her cancer has spread. Now Ananda regrets her treatment decision. She said, "Looking back on that, I go, you know what? Maybe I should have gotten that double mastectomy." She said, "My lymph system really flared up. It was the first time I ever had a conversation with death because I felt like this is how it is." She also mentioned, "I was just like, fudge, man. I really thought I had this. I was frustrated. I was a little angry at myself, and I said, man, listen, I know you're coming for me at some point, but I don't want it to be now. And if you could just wait, I promise when you do come, I'm gonna make it fun for you," Ananda said. "I literally had a conversation with death laying in my bed. I couldn't get out of bed for like 8 weeks." Now, a breast surgical oncologist and medical director indicated that she sees patients not very often, thankfully, that she meets in consultations, and they decide they don't want to take those recommendations. She indicated it's very disappointing, and she later learned that they pass away or they come back and the cancer is more advanced. Now, this is a sad tragedy of Ananda Lewis, former VJ host and also a reality star. Definitely a sad situation. With her cancer progressing to stage 4, she might have had a chance if she actually took the doctor's advice early on in the beginning, and now, unfortunately, the cancer is spreading all throughout her body. Now, it definitely seems like Ananda Lewis had a tragic life, from not being loved by her mother, her father, being shunned by her grandparents, not being accepted for your career decision, and now also your life tragically ending by cancer.